Our next learning target in this chapter is something called trigonometric ratios. And the simple overview of it is like get SOHCAHTOA memorized. It's explained really well by me in this Prezi. If you click around on the internet, other teachers are going to go really, really in depth on SOHCAHTOA, probably in a little longer video than this. This video is going to focus just on the TOA part, which is tangent. So tangent is the ratio of the opposite side length divided by the adjacent side length. And you're going to use this anytime you don't have enough information to use either Pythagorean theorem or special right triangles. And then one other thing before we get into some examples, sine, cosine, tangent are the buttons you're going to hit either on your Chromebook or phone calculator. Um, and those will help you find a missing side length. If you need to find a missing angle, you're going to hit second, and then that will bring up the inverse trig ratios of sine -1, cosine -1, tangent -1. And then one other calculator thing that can be a problem sometimes, make sure you're in degree mode, avoid radian mode. And on on most phone calculators, I believe it'll show RAD if it's in radian mode. You want to make sure you're in degree mode. I'll show that on the Chromebook calculator. Tangent is basically slope, but it's based on an angle measurement. So it's the idea if I know this base angle A, the leg opposite of it, A is on the right, leg BC is on the left. That's the opposite side length on the triangle. The rise is always going to be a predictable ratio of the run or the adjacent leg. And you set up a ratio of tangent A. A is an angle measurement that you know, or you're trying to figure out, equals the opposite, in this case, BC over the adjacent. So how this gets applied, it's not convenient to drop like a tape measure and figure out the height of the tallest building. It just isn't. It would be 1,000-foot long tape measure. So it is relatively easy to figure out how far you're standing away from it. So in this diagram, GS is 250 feet. Pause the video if I'm talking too fast. The angle of elevation is 84.74 degrees. If you click on this link, this video explains it really well. You use an inclinometer, you can figure out it's 84.74 degrees, and then 90 minus 84.74 degrees can help you find the angle at the top called the angle of depression, 5.26 degrees. Let's look mostly on the left here. So the idea is, all right, I know the angle. I'm going to substitute S is the angle that I'm using. From S, the opposite side length of the triangle, GT, which is the height of the building. And then GS is 250 feet. So I'm going to grab my calculator. I'm going to type in tangent 84.74. And I've already done that. One thing, again, make sure you're in, that's radian mode. That's bad. Degree mode, good. You're going to type in the angle number, 84.74. You're going to hit tangent, and that gives you 10.86. So what does that mean? What's that 10.86 used for? And it is telling us that for every 1 foot of run, every 1 foot horizontal distance corresponds to 10.86 feet of height on the building. And that's what it is. It's slope. So at that point, you've got a proportion, which you solved a bunch in chapter 8. So it's multiply, and that's your answer. And in the end, eventually you'll get used to this idea. Anytime my variable is in the numerator, GT, it's going to be a multiply problem. Anytime the variable is in the denominator, so if I flip this and I use the 5.26 degrees, the ratio flips real quick, it's going to be a division problem. And there you go. So a couple examples out of Khan Academy. The easiest thing you'll have is, hey, here's angle B. What's opposite? 8. What's adjacent? 15. You're going to choose 8 over 15. You'll hit check, and you're correct. The other thing you might get is a story problem such as this one. 5 is opposite that 31 degrees. You're trying to find this adjacent distance if you read the story problem that's here. So the setup, I know 31 degrees. 5 is opposite. I want to divide by the adjacent. I don't know it. I'm going to grab my calculator. And again, calculator, 31. I'm going to make sure I'm in degree mode. I'm going to hit tangent. And then I'm going to do the 5 divided by that number. And I advise copying and then pasting that number to avoid rounding error. You get 8.32. And probably the hardest part of this whole thing is make sure that you round it correctly when you type it in. It's nearest hundredth, 8.32, and I'm correct. Hope this helps. Please give the Khan Academies a try when you get this in the sine and cosine videos watched.